Hey, welcome to the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Saturday morning, ready to give you guys some feedback. Find us everywhere you get podcasts. The official weapon of the show is
Folding chair.
and the unofficial sport
Bullet ball.
and Bullet Ball Extreme feedback show. I mean, who doesn't know by now? But once a week, we take the time out to respond to what you had to say because you guys responded to us and what we had to say. And it's really that simple. All the ways to do it are in the show notes: the voicemail line, the email, the website, the YouTube. All of those things is where we go get our feedback from. The official weapon of the show is
Folding chair.
that's correct. It is. And the unofficial game of the show. And Bullet Ball Extreme.
Oh, okay. I thought we already did this. I was like, what
No,
is my brain?
I don't think I did.
It's glitching.
I don't think I did.
No problem.
I mean, what we did it twice, if not, you know. But yeah, we like to start with the people that took the time out throughout the year or the week or whatever. Some of y'all took the time out to give us money. Like y'all just looked up, went on our website, theblackouttips.com, looked on the right hand side, and you said, "Hey, let me break these fools off a little something, something." And so
thank you.
we like to give you a shout out.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Black Guy Who Tips.
That's right. Knew a little bit of change. Knew a little something strange. Johanna M., thank you for the recurrent donation.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing with that one.
Laura F., we do it all over here.
Apparently we do.
Okay, we just be out here trying to get it.
Be
everybody.
winging it.
Okay, we don't know what's gonna happen.
No, we do not.
Let's see. Chris from Hawaii. April G. We got this is from my girl Engine, who you guys may know from I think her store God Ain't Petty But I Am. I buy my shirts from there sometimes. I bought a new shirt and she hit me up and was like, "Hey, you mind if I use the shirt for like promotion and stuff like that?" And she was like, "I'll pay. What's your rate?" And I said, "I don't have a rate. You can just use it. You know,
yeah,
you
I don't
cool
have a rate.
people
Yes.
and whatnot.
Good people."
And she still put some money in the collection plate. I won't say how much, but it was a significant amount. And she still put some money in and said, "Thank you for the photo ride. Hey, Karen."
Hey, baby.
Because she said she believed in paying creatives for their work. So thank you for paying me.
Thank you, baby.
And yeah. She said, "Well, just black creators." And I said, "That's fine." And then I said, "And Andy, right?" And she said, "And Andy from 3 Guys On." I said, "Yeah, that's everybody.
He the only one that counts.
We got them all." Alexis H, Marlon B, yes, Marlon B, and of course Wonga from Down Under. Thank you everybody for putting in a little something on the donations. Okay, we needed that. And I'm an influencer because I sold them shirts. Like, it was people that hit me up to be like, "I'm buying the shirt because of you." So, I mean, you know, apparently I'm out here fashion influencing the trends. You know, we love to see it. I
like that shirt. I was thinking about asking you to get me one.
The slavery shirt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's just a statement in itself. Like, you know, when you're walking around, people will read it and they will kind of completely understand where you stand.
Yep. Just keep your head on the swivel in case you have to throw them things. But anyway, I like wearing shirts like that, especially on the podcast, because this goes out all over the world and just lets people know, like, hey, you know what kind of show you listening to.
Yeah, you do.
Plus, you got so many shirts. There's so many.
Yes.
My other one is my Black Job is Voting shirt. I still wear that all the time. You know, sometimes I wear it in the gym just to let these motherfuckers know not to bring that bullshit. Yeah, I appreciate it, and make sure y'all go there. And God Ain't Petty But I Am. Let's see. We didn't get any 5-star reviews, guys. You know what that means?
No, that means it's a commercial break time.
Commercial break time. You guys brought it on yourselves. I didn't want to do it, but nobody stepped up. So here's a little bit of a beat, and then we'll come right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. This is just a commercial break. Relax, sit back, enjoy. This is just a commercial break. Time to get the break.
All right, we're back. 3157. You can always get angry later was our feedback show. We had 8 comments. And because of the guest that we had, this was kind of the only episode we really talked in depth about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And not much has changed since we talked about it, other than I think, and I already said this on Wednesday's show, or Tuesday's show, I think. But yeah, or shit, maybe it was Wednesday. For premium people, they got an extra episode. But the pregame and everything. But you know, we've since found out that this dude that assassinated this man, he doesn't even really seem to have a political ideology. He did text his roommate / possible lover /
right, who knows
what, yeah, like something about like being sick of Charlie Kirk's hate. But then they're like he's Republican or his family's Republican or something to that effect. He dressed up as Trump for Halloween one year. But I don't know that means anything. You could be dressing up as Trump to make fun of him. He was a gamer. He had comments on Discord, but his friends and family say he was pretty much apolitical. So I think we just go back to what we do know, which is that it's the guns.
That's been the problem from the beginning.
Only country that got this problem. And I know what people want to say, and I'm not completely dismissing it. I'm reading a book about some of these, radicalization on social media, gamers and game culture, incels, like there's a bunch of stuff happening. The problem is those things do not only exist in America.
No, they do not.
This is literally the only place where we continue to have this rate of shooting.
Yes.
And it's the guns. It's the access to the guns. It's nothing else is going to change. And it's why I'm hesitant every time one of these, I remember after the Trump thing, where he was, the dude tried to shoot him. And there's just conspiracies, and he did it himself, and he set it up and all this. And I know what y'all want to do, and I know everyone wants to make the world make sense and make it make sense in their political dogma.
Agreed.
So that the world, so you're on the right side of things. I just think the way we've let guns get out of control, there's no right side. Even if it were to be the causes that you espouse, like, oh, Luigi really did that because he's a Bernie bro type person that if we don't get progressive movements, we're going to start killing CEOs. I just truly don't think people are stopping to look at the commonality that we have mass shootings, we have murders and shit literally all the time, every few minutes. And the common thread is just the guns. And
the guns.
You could try to act like there's some movement starting, but there ain't been another Luigi Mangione since. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that didn't start anything. Everyone was hoping it would get us somewhere. As far as like, and then the politicians and the companies will have to bow down to the people. The people are not rising up. The people are not brave. The people are not savvy. They're not principled. So this is where we're at.
And like I said before, they're not built like that. A lot of that rhetoric is to make themselves feel good and quote unquote pat themselves on the back.
Like there's somebody coming to save us.
Yes, but the reality is you putting out the tweet or the post, you are not going to do anything. There's a lot of yous out there that's just spewing shit just because. And no, I'm not going to do it. Somebody else is going to do it. No, I'm not going to start a revolution. Somebody else going to start a revolution. It's everybody looking at everybody else. So start a revolution. But guess, babe, the revolution ain't going to start then.
Yeah, all I'm saying is just that's the only real update I have on the Charlie Kirk thing. Everything else is just, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to it in time, but everything else is just kind of like par for the course. We'll talk about some of the censorship and the fallout, I'm sure, during the next few weeks. But anyway, Appia says, I had to reduce social media because I noticed that the fear and anger stayed with me for a long time. They are very strong emotions, obviously motivate people to stay online more. They have nowhere to go. And if I would engage more, they would only grow. I can't just shut them down. I don't think most people can. I don't think most people can either. And I think a lot of people are in denial about that. And I think also a lot of people prescribe stuff for other folks that they truly do not think of for themselves. Every single time you ever heard somebody tell a celebrity or somebody they need to get off of social media, if you were to tell them, and you do too, most people would be like, what? No, I'm fine.
Right. I don't have a problem with it.
And I'm sure that celebrity would tell you they're fine. But those are just the people with the highest, biggest stage, on the biggest stage with the most spotlight on them, so we can all look at them as examples and go, this thing is bad for this person. But very few of us stop and go, this thing is bad kind of for all of us. And so we just find ways to navigate it, because to a certain extent, I think it's highly unavoidable for most of us, and that either we're addicted to it or we need it for whatever aspects of our lives that we need it for, or we've come accustomed to it, whatever it is. It's not gonna go away. So now we're all just managing different ways of accessing it, because it's not even just social media at this point. It's kind of everything, right? You're listening to our podcast digitally. You downloaded some app. You're on the phone. We're texting each other. We're all kind of tied into this ecosystem together, and there's no real getting out of it without kind of letting some things go and and reforming your ideas of connection and relationship. And I think that's a very difficult thing for everyone to do.
Yes, it is a very difficult thing for everyone to do, because the reality of it, if you were to actually, and some people have done this, but like you said, most people won't, including myself, won't completely leave for various different reasons. And the thing is, if somebody really makes a stance and says, you know what, I'm completely getting off of social media, it will let you will realize how many of these people are truly your friends and how many people are not. Because once you turn that thing off, can they still contact you? Can they still reach you? Will you still see them? Answer to that question is probably no. So, people don't want to accept that reality. They build community, they build livelihood, like they build these things digitally, that once you leave this app, that means all those things have to end. Like if you really take a stance on these things.
Quite possibly, yeah. Like I said, everyone got advice for everyone else, but none of us is taking our own advice, right?
Agreed.
But yeah, I feel you. Like, reducing social media is definitely something that I think most of us should either consider or you should at least think about it.
At least think about it.
Like, just the people running these platforms do not have our best interest in mind.
They don't care about your mental health. They don't care that it's stressing you out. They don't care that it's making you mad, sad, depressed. They don't care.
I'm not an angry person in general. I always think I have to be selective about what angers me, because I don't want to be an angry place all the time. I'm very much the same. And I think partially because I'm not necessarily an angry person in general, but most of my anger comes from like this hyper vigilant type of feeling of like, this person, this is hypocritical. We should have, people should do this. And in a lot of ways, it kind of erases people's humanity to think of people that way, because we all have our moral dilemmas and our our pathways of like, oh, this is what's gonna work for me, but da da da. Anyway, all that to say, like, I totally understand, like, sometimes the answer is just to not be around people as much, so you can kind of just be like, all right, cool, I don't need to see all my friends like political opinions and where we agree and disagree, because it's not always good for me to know that, and it's not always good for them to have, to know what my shit is. Bomani often talks about how, social media, just scrolling, it just makes him think about, like, end up looking and thinking how many of his friends are like stupid or something. And every time he says it, I'm like, I might be one of those friends. I don't know what his politics align with mine all the time, and so we all feel very strongly, and that's what the algorithm's point is, to make us all look at and feel strongly and keep scrolling. Exactly right. About other things also having side effects. An extreme diet of any kind, think about strange diets of the past, would have side effects, even if it's feeling dizzy from hunger and being able to concentrate less. It's just so interesting, because like, it's just so interesting because we're doing, I don't know if it's coming from a place of like, we all want to feel like what we're doing is the right thing, or we all want to feel like, or just, so much of it is about bodies and judging and fat phobia and all this other stuff and societal pressure. And so maybe we all just looking at each other, so we're not looking at ourselves or something. But I think you just got to look at yourself on shit. You really don't know. And even when you think somebody is quote unquote goals, you don't know what they're putting their body through to be those goals.
Right.
You know, I think about this all the time when you look at like either athletes or, and I count this person as an extreme athlete, but like Beyonce. Like whenever I remember watching her behind the scenes of how she did, I think her Coachella performance, and all the rigorous practicing and the dieting and all that stuff to look like Beyonce, which of course she looks amazing, and you know, who knows what other things she's had to have done to her body or done or whatever, you know, because I know it's a lot of pressure to do that and that's her business. But you know how many people look at her and say stuff like goals or that's what I want to be, and I'm like, do you want to work out 40 hours a week goals, or is, you know, like, do you want to, you know, drink, you know, just liquids for, you know, a month to lose a couple of pounds so that you can be in the exact perfect shape you need to be to do this thing? Like, you never want to have a carb again type situation, you know, like, is there all that to say, like, there's sacrifices that come with all that stuff, and I don't even want to know what kind of mental strength and rigor and whatever other things come into it to make you feel like I need to look like Beyonce all the time because I'm Beyonce to everybody all the time. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. And that, by the same token, you know, I know Rihanna, whose weight can fluctuate and all this stuff, she seems less in, she's almost like rebelled against, because she was like, everybody's like the sexiest woman on earth. And then she's like, I'm just going to be pregnant and not necessarily be touring, not necessarily be working out all the damn time. I'm going to be living my life and being Rihanna. And we all still think she's goals, but you just know that there's, I'm sure people are saying all kinds of nasty shit to her about her body and feeling this level of entitlement. So like, everybody's going through it, no matter how they make it look easy or hard or whatever, everyone's going through it. And yeah, sometimes it's not even anything about a medicine or a doctor or whatever. Sometimes it's just stuff like, I'm going on the blank diet. And it's like, okay, you just hope people do the right thing, because everybody could advise against, I mean, name any diet. There's going to be somebody to tell you what the downfalls of what you're doing is. So even if I don't take weight loss medication, I don't judge anyone who does. And all the data that comes out about it then was very positive. There was new data on positive effects on the heart recently published, for example. Yeah, people, but that's the thing too. People will take like an extreme case, or like this happened to 0.01% of people, and because our fat phobia and our fear and our judgment, we'll be like, but this one person, this one person, what about that? And it's like, so all the good that has come from these medicines, we got to throw it away. Yes, but you won't see Serena Williams talking about that one person. It's like, well, who would talk about that one person? You won't see a person who says use the paleo diet talk about the Liver King. Like, obviously that person's an extreme example that is not the average result, you know? Anyway, Silver King says, I'm only now just getting to episode 31,054, and I'm not on social media, so this is the first time I'm hearing about the passing of Coco Negra. I became a fan of hers listening to her and P-Funk on Molecules and shit, but MTR Network doesn't really have a feedback show or even an email line, so I'm writing in to y'all and hopes that you will extend my condolences to her online family. Sorry for your loss. Absolutely. Let's see. This one's from an anonymous person. Hey, Rod and Karen, I'm listening to the feedback show. You can get mad later. That was a title she's not telling us to. I think it's what it's called when you were responding to feedback. You're mentioning about people being radicalized online. This is honestly something that I've been waiting to hear others talk about, and now you're discussing about the clear men being radicalized online. However, I've noticed in my personal life, black men as well, with this red pill movement. I honestly think it's all under the same umbrella.
It is, and it's something that we've discussed. Like we've discussed about, you know, a lot of black men being in incels. You know, it's several incel kings out there and you're like, hey, these brothers are trouble.
Yeah, the Hotep movement to me is similar. People like Tariq Nasheed are using these guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, lot of the FBA,
Yeah,
ADOS shit.
them dudes.
That's a lot of it for black folks. And yeah, there's, I mean, just the future hive type dudes, you know, these guys that you constantly see under the comment section in the gender wars. And there's entire accounts that just look for examples of women behaving badly towards men to be like, you know, look at this shit. And there's men that are radicalized by that. And it's not even just extreme men. I mean, I just know men, just general black men who we've already had issues with misogyny within and without the culture because it's America. I'm not saying black men are like standalone in this, obviously, but I'm a black man, so these are people I'm around. And whether it be through our music and stuff like that, our culture, our art, that sometimes is disrespectful to our own women and women in general, there's also a lot of like galvanizing of that angst online the same way that is for incels. Now, the difference is, I don't know, like maybe because black people are black in America, there's a lot less of the like crash out shit where it's like, go shoot up a school, you know, like you don't see that. But this idea that like we are entitled to women to have sex with us and to be romantically interested in us, and that women are bad and women are using their sexual whatever, like that, black men ain't immune from that at all. That's not just an incel white boy thing. I've seen otherwise decent sounding, thinking, reasonable men go into these weird places of like, you know, basically these women are out here being sexy and god damn it, that's their fault, whatever is happening. If they're being sexually assaulted, if they're being killed, beaten, abused, like somehow they're playing a part in it by being sexy, knowing they sexy, just existing and not bending to the very whims of what I consider a good woman to be. It's very, very prominent. I often see it amongst the like discussions about women like IG models dating athletes, and or women that get divorced and get a settlement, or men that cheat on women and then don't want to take care of their kids and stuff. You would think most men would, and most men probably are, either minding their business or being like, yeah, I can see why that woman would go get child support, or why that woman would need alimony. But there's a ton of men and women, to be honest, but there's a lot of men that are black and still kind of like this anti-woman agenda, this red pill shit.
And for a lot of women, that's the scary part. You said a word when you would say like otherwise normal, rational men.
Yeah.
Which means when these women a lot of times are introduced to these men, they're not showing you that side of them and that part of them. And a lot of times it isn't until you get deep in a relationship, and sometimes even married with children, and then that shit slowly pops up, and you were like, well, nigga, if you would have showed me this before we met, I would have never wasted my time with you if I knew that you had these feelings. You don't like women.
Yeah, and this isn't really the podcast of like where a man does something and y'all hear me talk about how they're not really a man, or they don't count somehow, they just a boy or whatever.
They count.
You're an adult. That man's a man. He has all the rights and privileges of being a man in America, and they still chose to do something horrible to women. They still count. And a woman wouldn't know the difference. Like, it's just a way to blame, kind of low key blame a woman. Like, you couldn't tell a boy from a man. It's just like that person, whatever they're doing. And then that's not even counting like if we just made this podcast about crimes, like Guess the Race was just, if we did more of the darker stuff, which we typically stay away from the darkest stuff, but there's dark stuff all the time. But if we did more of the darker stuff that men do to women, we literally would never have a different type of article to cover, because I have to go look up these articles to cover them for our show. And so I'm constantly looking at crimes and funny stories to be like, Guess the Race. Should we do this one? Should we not? Which means I'm just inundated with just every day multiple articles about just a man killed his wife, a man killed his wife, man killed his girlfriend, man killed the woman's dog and shot out and killed the police.
Killed his mother, killed his sister, killed the kids. Yes.
So yeah, it's, you know, I get it. I'm not saying I never, when we're talking about these mass shootings, that is a very white man type of thing, meaning they're not the only ones, but they're the vast majority, which is why that came up. But yeah, I know that brothers are not immune to being indoctrinated from the internet. These men are somehow become indoctrinated. I can't really find much information regarding others' experiences, but I would have noticed in my own personal life is how my ex significant other, it started innocently with him laughing and joking about certain things he was hearing people talk about online, saying how crazy it was, and then the rapid progression of him embracing those same ideologies, listening to Jordan Peterson literally all of this time, to all listening to the red pill ideologies, and it completely rewired his brain. He essentially almost became a conservative, stating how it wasn't so bad and they never did anything to him. This is a black man, which is insane. Yeah, I know so many black women that have a similar story to you. I don't know, and I'm sure there are avenues for radicalization for all of us. Meaning,
yes,
I'm sure there's people with horror stories about black women somewhere. I don't know what the percentage would be, but I'm sure there's somebody right now getting mad, typing, save the fucking email.
Please do.
This ain't really about that. Not trying to blame any one particular group or people, but what I am saying is social media is there to get us all going down a rabbit hole. It looks different for each of us, but
yes,
extreme keeps us scrolling, mid does not. Again, there's definitely something going on in this algorithm. Somehow started showing him all of these things, and he, for whatever reason, embraced it. I remember our daughter giving me a girls rule bumper sticker and him becoming so enraged, asking about what about boys, and that's when I really knew he had gone on the deep end. Kevin Samuel, Andrew Huberman, Andrew Peterson. It's a dark rabbit hole that leads to the manosphere, and I think a lot of people are becoming brainwashed, essentially. Yeah, that's what the algorithms are there to do too. They keep showing you more and more extreme things. The book I'm reading, Digital Madness, some of the stories I'm reading, like I'm on the part where they're talking about the radicalization of men online, and not black men, but just men in general. But I'm at the Elliot Rodger chapter, or what example, and I remember, and I'm only bringing this up because I know I normally do this just to like make fun and shit on him, but this is like a more serious like point that I'm making. I remember I listening to JL Covan's podcast back in the day when it was like Righteous Prick, and this was right after the mass shooting, and Elliot Rodger had written 180-page manifesto. He had put videos on YouTube in his car. He had been, very vocal about why he did what he did, and he's of course not mentally well, so the logic isn't necessarily the cogent. It's not necessarily the logic you like in a court of law. You wouldn't apply this logic, right? But his logic was very much, women are not having sex with me, I'm an involuntary celibate, I am owed sex by these women, and all these whores are having sex with these guys,
regardless if it's the truth or not.
All these whores are having sex with these guys at these fraternities, and one fraternity in particular that he had contempt for. So when he drove down the street shooting women, he also shot some men. And I remember it was trending on Twitter because everyone's just a fucking living in theory. It's all devil's advocate shit over there, and everybody's going, not all men, and not all men going, all men aren't like Elliot Rodger, but saying literally he didn't just shoot women, he shot some men too. Therefore, maybe his motives of being a woman hater, his motives of he just wants to kill women, maybe that's wrong, because if he just wanted to kill women, why'd he kill men? And he was telling you his own self multiple times in many different avenues. I'm killing men because the men get to have sex with the women I want to have sex with.
Right.
His problem with the men is that the women wouldn't fuck him. And his perception was that they were fucking these other guys. And I remember people debating, and and Righteous Prick, this was the point of the show, was let me go debate something contrarian. But it was like, well, we can't really say because he was doing, and I was like, but then what does that mean? What are we saying? Because to me, it's kin to saying like, this white guy killed an interracial couple because he hates black people, and then we go, but then why'd he kill the white husband? Think about it. Clearly, that's not what the motive is. you know, or like then he would have just only killed the black wife in the crew, or he would only killed the black man in the marriage, and he would have let the white person live. It's like, well, that's not how hate works, and we know that. So anyway, I say all that to say, like, there are people that worship and call him Saint Elliot and all this shit, and they still exist on the internet, and a lot of times we still see the remnants of that movement and out here whenever we do see a mass shooting, and we've just decided to live with it in America because we're not going to stop people from getting guns.
Right.
Sean says, in terms of Charlie Kirk, while it's not acceptable that he was assassinated, mourning him is not necessary. Some people deserve a eulogy. Some people deserve a fuckeulogy. Oh, fuck eulogy. Okay, that's hilarious. Term coined by Andy Zaltman. I think that is pretty clear with the category Kirk falls in. It is difficult balance to acknowledge the world is a better off place without him, while also acknowledging that the world would be a better off place without political assassinations. However, it should also be acknowledged that everything ICE is doing is political violence and should be condemned as harshly or more harshly than assassination of a Nazi piece of shit. Appia says, I absolutely see your point. I thought about political violence a lot this last week. My conclusion is pretty much no political violence is the best amount because it is normalized. Someone we might be next, as it already happened in the past. Yeah, I feel like a lot of this is thoughts and prayers, but like the liberal version.
Yes, I agree.
I'm not trying to be a contrarian or a jerk about it, but like, guys, none of this is something me, you, and the people that are on the side of like, yo, we didn't agree with Charlie Kirk. None of us are controlling any of this. We don't have the guns, the bullets. We weren't telling this kid what to do. No, there's no politicians that were encouraging murder of this guy. And I find it interesting because now it's been over a week. And when we say the term mourn, right? Like mourning him, I don't think anyone's mourning him. And by that, I mean not even his quote unquote supporters. What I'm watching is a weaponization of his brand. I'm not watching a mourning. I'm not watching these people cry about the injustice. I'm not watching them try to solve the conditions that led to him being murdered. What I'm watching is a denial. And some sort of like, okay, now let's use his name to raise money, to terrorize black communities, to go after colleges and kids, to attack trans people, to they're not to make baristas at Starbucks write his name down as if Starbucks hires people straight out of the fucking, the high school liberal association groups or whatever. Like they're just motherfuckers with jobs making minimum wage. Nobody in Starbucks has a political agenda. They don't put you through. It's like if you go to Chick-fil-A. It's like when people went to Chick-fil-A and they kissed in front of the Chick-fil-A people that work there. I know what they were trying to say as far as a sign of protest, but it also was like nobody that works at the Chick-fil-A had to pass a I hate gay people test. They just got a job. Most of those people just in the community, and Chick-fil-A is a good paying job of that type of job. So they don't really have anything to do with this fight. It's all just symbolism.
Yes.
It's all Charlie Kirk is just a symbol, and what he's become a symbol of has been like, can we make you bow down? And what you're watching is something that Karen and I've talked about many times on this show, and I hate to be right about it. I don't want to be right about it. This sucks. But we were absolutely right about it. I'm not going to play the songs, but come on, we were right. What y'all are watching is people bow down. Everybody thought everyone's going to be so fucking brave.
When people were saying that, I was like, no, bitch, you better vote. Y'all.
Yeah, the moments
that fucking around.
The moments that require a connection to the truth that is grounded and radical is not what is happening right now. And I don't mean like I need my politicians to come. I don't like this Twitter bullshit that people want performative politicians to sound like Twitter. I hate that shit. Y'all know I hate it from the bottom of my fucking soul. I think it's so stupid. It's why I'm reticent to hop on board with Gavin Newsom. I don't need him to sound like Twitter. I know some people think they need that. We really don't need that. That's not going to be the solution to get us out of this, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but these are also the people that are going to end up unanimously voting to honor Charlie Kirk, because they don't want to be in a situation where later on someone goes, well, when we voted for a day to be against political assassinations, you couldn't even vote against that, because they know it's a gotcha. So they're already thinking like, either I gotcha by voting, yes, we should put the Charlie Kirk Memorial Day up, or I go, no, guy was pretty much a bad guy. I don't think what he did was good. And I don't think we should enshrine him, even while I also think political assassinations are bad. And someone's going to be like, nope, that's not what your stance is. You are okay with political assassinations of Charlie Kirk. Did they make them do this when those politicians were gunned down? No.
They could have cared less.
No, they didn't have the numbers for Democrats to try to pull off this ridiculous move, this completely optics move. But the point being, like, doesn't really matter, but nobody's gonna stand by the truth of like, no. And I had to come from a hateful place to go, no, I'm not okay with that.
Right.
This guy is not a good guy. His death doesn't erase his life.
Right.
You know, like that's and yes, if some people decide they don't like me or they won't vote for me because of this, I guess I'll lose my seat. But I don't even know if this will matter in a year. But yeah, so anyway, all this to say, like, they're not talking about who this man was. I saw an AI video a church made, using his voice to do like, I'm in heaven now, and they want AI just play a clip of what he actually used to say.
That's my biggest
Ezra
thing.
Klein wrote a whole fucking op-ed obituary, like worshiping him, talking about envying what he built. Check out if you're premium, go check out the pregame from this week, because I did talk a little more in depth about why I found the Ezra Klein and Mehdi Hassan thing to be so troubling. When Ezra Klein would say he envied what Charlie Kirk built, that tells you way more about not just Ezra Klein, but about our media economy. That should tell you a lot about our media economy, that Ezra Klein is like, man, that Charlie Kirk, what he built though. Now, couldn't use one word of what he said in his eulogizing of him. Couldn't use a single quote of Charlie Kirk.
That matters.
But the media platform is, the following of the media platform is a value unto itself that exists above what you use the platform for in our society right now. Joe Rogan is the best because he got the most. Right,
and that's how they look at it.
How he uses it, that's not the issue.
Yep, that's not the problem.
They're writing about Andrew Schultz in the New York Times. They're not denigrating him. They're uplifting him. Why? Because look at how he used his platform. He's got Trump on there. He's getting this many clicks, this many views. The clicks are sans negative or positive value. They're integers or whatever, like whatever that, I forget the exact math term, but they just only hold positive value, meaning we refuse to acknowledge -2. We just go 2 units, add it to the pile. It's like, well, I think what Andrew Schultz is doing is adding -1 million units. 1 million, that's a lot. that's where we're at right now.
Add it to the pile.
And so that's why Charlie Kirk becomes a saint in this climate, because he was able to take a platform that even people that think he did a bad thing and used it wrongly, they're like, but how did he get that platform? And they're now not talking about a man who died. They're talking about a platform which is essentially up for grabs. That's why his wife is taking over when she was married to a man who said women need to stay their ass in the house. Women don't need to be leaders like that. Women just need to listen to the man, raise the babies, and that'll make them happy. But what is she doing? She's going to carry on his work, whatever that means. And they were already raising money off of his death 24 hours later, man. Like, he ain't even in the ground yet. It's all formality. I don't know that they're mourning him, is what I'm saying. They're just weaponizing rage and attacking people. They're trying to get people fired. That's not mourning, you know. And not to both sides it, because I don't think it's a both sides thing, but I think the internet is a, once again, integers with no negative or positive value, just all taking up space. What they think they're doing is getting revenge for when people did this stuff where it was like, oh, this person said a racist thing on Twitter, let's go make them lose their job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this person said something negative about George Floyd, we're going to, get them fired or whatever. They don't care whether you thought you were righteous when you did that. They only look at it as you took the chance to use the will of the public to seek and grab power and take it away from people and get them kicked off their jobs, make them apologize on the news, whatever, for being, racist, bigoted, inarticulate, whatever. That power hunger of just, we're going to fucking go get you. And yes, liberal people did that as much as not liberal people for a time period, right? There's just, I mean, we've all seen it. We've all seen that motherfucker gonna lose that job. Oh, when she get off that plane, she is done. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. To them, it never was about right or wrong. It was just, oh, they have the power to do that. One day when we get the moment to grab that, we're gonna do it to them. And that's why Jimmy Kimmel ain't got no job. You know what I mean? It ain't about right or wrong. It's just, here's a moment where society is weak towards our side. They're having empathy that we don't really care or want, but we will use because we don't even display empathy. This man's own words don't display empathy. But this is a chance to get Jimmy Kimmel off the air. And we don't like how he been talking about Trump and conservatives. So we're going to use that. Here's a chance to get somebody fired from their column for the Washington Post, where we've been trying to make this person leave the whole time anyway. But now Karen Attiah doesn't have a job. There's no black person that works at the Washington Post right now in the editorial or any of the oversight boards. That's on purpose. And this was just a moment to do a power grab. And that's all his death has seemed to be. It's not me. I saw a human being get killed. I didn't like seeing that video. But did y'all see a human being get killed, or did you go, oh, here's our chance? Because that's what it feels like. It's our chance to go denigrate and harass people instead of memorialize this person. Why are you worried about a fucking Starbucks cup? You know what I've never done? Going to Starbucks and been like, hey man, put George Floyd on there. Why? What would that do? What is it helping? What change am I seeking? It's just, I don't know that Dave mourned him, is my point. I'm sorry for that long ass monologue. Karen, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. When I kind of seen it and kind of the aftermath and people losing their jobs and stuff, I just seen a leaderless cult that people were kind of floating around like vultures, and now everybody's trying to pick their pieces and pick their parts of it to see what they can get off of it. They really don't care about the carcass itself. They just want the meat, which is the views and the people and the listeners and all that type of stuff. Because they continued his podcast and all that type of stuff. Because they know that these people are, particularly people that were heavy in those circles, are going through their process of grief, and they're like, what can we do to benefit from it? And it shows in various different ways. And I also want to say, when you was talking about people fighting and things like that, Democrat side fighting and things like that, it always go back to the things we said before. If you can't fight with the simple tools, you aren't going to be willing to fight with the hard tools. And the simple tool was voting. It didn't require a lot and it didn't take a lot. So if you're not going to just vote, which is basically the simplest thing you can do, I do not look for people in masses to have this revolution. I just don't. Because they're just not built for it. Now, something may happen and somebody really might shock me. But from what I see around and for social media, most people have the luxury to sit at home. They got a home, basically, sit at home and theorize and put out their hypothesis on how these situations should be handled, when in reality they're really not willing to do anything. They're not willing to put their name on it. They're not willing to put their neck on the line. They're not willing to lose their jobs. They're not willing to stand up for anything. And like I said before, us on the Democrat side, we follow the rules. So whatever fucked up rules they make, we're gonna go, okay, and we're gonna fucking follow them. Most of us are not really built for that life where we're really designed to challenge the system, because most of us have been taught it's a bad thing to go to jail. You are terrible if you go to jail. If something happened to you, it's your fault and you should be punished. A lot of people feel like that. But what happened if you're standing for the right thing? Do you still feel that same way? Or is it other people can sacrifice like that, but not you?
Yeah. There are a lot of good trouble stuff that we like to throw that quote out there. But yeah, I just think the other thing about it that I think in the wake of the Charlie Kirk thing, and other people I'm sure have made the point, but you know, I make it all the time, but I took it a level deeper this week. Remember when we had the shooting at the school and Obama he met the families and then he addressed the nation, and a couple tears rolled down his cheeks. You know, he wasn't blubbering, but they were just like dignified tears. You know, and obviously, you know, that was the moment that I thought something's going to happen with gun control. And to the Democrats' credit, they pushed as hard as they could, and Republicans did not budge. They said even in the wake of these children, white children, dying, we will not budge as politicians. Okay. But also societally, culturally, the type of Republican supporter, the media of Republicans had a complete fucking spin out. They just crashed out. It was these kids. This was not a real murder shooting. These kids didn't exist. Their families aren't real. Alex Jones went to fucking court and lost over it. But the fact that he never would admit, because he could have stopped it at any time by being like, you know what? I'm sorry, y'all right. And I don't know whether he believes it or not. I would assume he doesn't, but I don't know that.
Agreed.
Because he rode the lie out so hard. And we know it's a lie, but it makes you think to yourself, is he lying to himself or he's lying to us? Because what I've come to believe is that people that can't believe Obama had genuine empathy in the face of such tremendous tragedy cannot have empathy. They have to believe that empathy is some sort of fake emotion that the rest of us are pretending to have.
Yeah.
And so that person can't even consider that a man who just looked in the faces of families who lost innocent children could be emotionally affected by it, because they can't be. So to them, getting in all emotion is performance. And I think even this that they're doing for Charlie Kirk is performance. They're performing for each other. They're not experiencing real emotions, or they're in such deep denial about the emotions they are feeling, because one would think if you were emotionally moved by what happened to Charlie Kirk, you wouldn't be saying, well, he last texted me that we should send the National Guard into Chicago, and that's what we need to do to honor his memory. You wouldn't be saying that. You'd be saying we need to do something about people getting guns and killing people. You wouldn't be saying that. You wouldn't be saying we need to use this to get black people fired from jobs, or we need to do this to get teachers, go to teacher boardroom, school board meetings and act a fool and record it for Twitter. You wouldn't be saying, you've really woken up a beast, I'm gonna get all of you. we're gonna really get them now for Charlie, you wouldn't be saying that. First of all, that guy's still alive who did this. You don't even care why he did it. You're already just like, now it's really time for us to weaponize this white supremacy. So it just made me think, like, maybe you don't have the ability to truly connect to other human beings, or to even consider the tragedy that just happened to the guy that you claim to like. Like, it's just crazy. Like, that this response it hasn't made sense unless you truly consider that they are incapable of saying, I'm hurt, I miss this guy, I don't quite feel like doing anything right now. Like there's no one to get. The guy's in custody. He didn't do this on behalf of anyone. It's just a sad tragedy that will always exist in a world where we just have so many guns. That hasn't been the response. It's been, we're gonna get Democrats somehow. We're gonna get Democratic voters. We're gonna get people that aren't from here. Stuff like that. It's been a very and like, I'd love to say that the politician from Utah, I forget what his exact role was, but the guy who said, I was just hoping it wasn't one of us. I hope it wasn't somebody from here, from Utah, and all the I'm sorry, he's a Republican. They have not earned the benefit of the doubt for me to be like, well, he would only mean this in the most correct, like, just a completely unbiased way. I'm not expecting him to call me a nigger for me to think this guy could have some racial sentiment underneath this.
Agreed.
If you feel like Republican Utahns have acquitted themselves in some way that other Republicans haven't, but I don't feel that way, and you have to show me much more work to earn that benefit of the doubt. But that was a very honest moment he had. But honesty can be ugly. But it was basically, I was hoping it wasn't some white kid from Utah that was just some normal fucking kid that could be any of our kids. That's it. That's what he was really saying. Now, the uglier part is he kind of let slip, and I was hoping it was one of them. Now, who the them is? Someone from outside of the country, someone from outside the state, someone from outside the racial group, someone from outside the religion, something like that, probably. But the general point is, that's the ugliness in them, because it was one of y'all. Now, what you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do to save your white boys from what you have indoctrinated them with, from what you've let run amok because you want guns and unfettered access to guns and NRA lobby money? What are you gonna do? Nothing.
Right. You're gonna do nothing, and this is my philosophy. Kind of open up my third eye on this one. When you were talking about the empathy part, white people and white supremacists, in my opinion, learned what white people empathy gets you. The civil rights laws passed. What does empathy get you? It gets you the Voting Rights Act. What does empathy get you? It gets you making it easier and not punishing people. That's what empathy gets you. So I think that they learned from that, and they said, we have to raise a generation with no empathy. We have to raise a generation with no heart. We have to raise a generation where you turn on the TV and all of a sudden white people are crying because you have black people getting water hoses and dogs sicked on them, and you're making the country look bad. So we've got to raise a generation that does not care anything about that. The hatred in their heart and disdain in their heart has got to be so enrooted. There's not going to be an image that's going to change their mind. There's not going to be a video that's going to change their mind. We have got to raise a generation without empathy.
I'd even go so far as to say it's not even hatred. They want to raise them to not care.
Right.
Like, not even hatred. Hatred is almost putting too much work.
Agreed. Yeah.
And also, not caring gives you plausible deniability. Because you can watch an injustice and go, well, I just don't care. And you go, well, that makes you complicit. And like, I'm not racist. I just don't care. Like, I don't hate these black people. I just don't care that bad shit is happening to them. I don't feel that there's any obligation for my country to do something. I don't hate brown and people. Hey, I didn't vote for this. Are you going to do anything to stop it? No, I won't speak out against it either. You know, and the last thing I'll say, and then I know we spend a lot of time on this, but this is our only real time to talk about it this week with our guest. We didn't want to like fuck up their day.
Mm-hmm.
I keep seeing people push back against this, and I know I'm coming from a different angle, but hear me out because it's going to sound like shocking, but it's not. Charlie Kirk is their MLK.
Yes, he is.
Okay. You know why I say that?
Well, I have my feelings why.
Go ahead.
Because I think they equate him being assassinated the same way they equate Martin Luther King being assassinated. They equate somebody that was vocal and was out there and was seen and was quote unquote carrying a torch, and all of a sudden got taken away from them too early.
If you just take away, and that's very close to what I'm saying, if you just take away the values, once again, back to that. And once again, I'm probably fucking it up. It's been a while since I've taken that math class. I'm saying integers, but I can't remember. I just know that there was a concept in math where it was like, these numbers, we're not counting. There's no such thing as a negative blank. Like, maybe I'll Google that. Like, but I remember learning in math that there's no such thing as a negative integer or something like that. Like just some whatever. But I can't remember what it was. So I'm sure there's negative integers. Yeah, I just Googled. There are negative integers, but there's like one concept where there's like, we're not looking at negative numbers. So you can't take away, it's only adding. My main point being absolute value. Thank you. That's it, Mwangangi. Absolute value. They look at this equation as absolute value.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning we're not saying what Charlie Kirk stood for. None of us are going to use his actual words. What we're going to say is he was a father. He was a Christian. He was American. He was a free speech enthusiast. Now, that last one is very dubious because it's not necessarily true. Mm-hmm. He had a blacklist of people that he wanted to not have free speech, that he did want to attack and silence. So he's not actually a free speech absolutist. But the absolute value of Charlie Kirk and the inflection point that he represents is the same thing. That is, MLK dies and suddenly we get some political laws to protect black people's rights to vote. They want that, but to pass legislation that is obviously anti all that.
Yes.
And that's when they say he's their MLK, that's what they mean. They don't mean what he stood for. They can't use what he stood for. There's never going to be a I have a dream speech that they can show on loop on Charlie Kirk Day, right?
Agreed. And if people, I'm going to say this right now, and I hope it never comes to pass. If they get their way, he will be a national federal holiday.
Yeah. Like, they want a day of remembrance already for him. They're using the fact that people have empathy and decorum and goodwill and common sense.
And they're using it against
people. They're using
right.
it to put people in a corner to where they're like, if you don't acknowledge that this was bad, how he was killed, then you're essentially saying that it's okay to kill people. And it's like, okay, well, obviously I don't agree with that. And by the way, we're never going to mention what he stood for.
We're not
and we're never gonna and we're gonna say that if you mention it, you're actually disrespecting him by saying what he was about.
Right.
And it's working. We're watching it work
in real time.
And so in that way, he's their MLK, meaning that at the time that MLK died, there was a lot of silence that had to be had by even his critics. Because all of a sudden, this is the first time those racist people had to shut the fuck up. It was like, no, what happened to this nation is terrible. People are very upset. They're shaken. They don't believe in the foundation. We have to do something to shore up the foundation of this country. And we need to pass some laws. This has obviously gone too far. This is now their way of saying, when you guys were honest and critical of whiteness and white supremacy and the government, and you guys were this is the result of your hatred. You have taken it too far. we have to now pass laws, make remembrances, do something to shore up this. And this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll move on. But this is, to me, so damning of America in this moment, because I think for many of us who have lived long enough or have read enough history or aware of enough history, it took at least 8 years after the Civil War for them to throw away the experiment of Reconstruction. 8 years. And even then, the Southern white traitorous Confederate was not held in esteem. So it took at least 8 years for them to allow lynching and mob rule and terrorism on black people who were just existing in the South again. But it took until the early part of the 19th century for them to have the Daughters of the Confederacy, who then erected monuments to those same traitorous people.
Losers!
Who then named city streets and town streets and highways
and blocks
after Robert E. Lee,
parks,
and William Bedford Forrest and all these people, to turn these people who were slave owning tyrants into heroes,
right?
Into tragic, heroic figures who fought a lost cause. It took them decades. It took them less than 24 hours for Charlie Kirk. That is much worse. That is
the time sped up.
That is not like if they were moving on horseback back then, they are now moving at the speed of light.
Right.
And to erase or to attack anyone who would say, hey man, this dude has some very wild views, some very problematic views. To attack people for just saying that is it shows you the depth of the depravity and how much is not really about this man, and it's just about attacking these people in his name.
Right. And they want to call him their MLK, but the shit ain't the same. I got family members that are alive and well and kicking when Martin Luther King died, and they have told me stories about the day that he died. They was
killed. Yeah.
The day he was killed. And they was telling me they remember hearing and seeing family members getting beat by white people, going, where's your king now? What you gonna do now? Right. Your savior is dead. Like so it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's so obviously not the same unless you're looking at it as absolute value.
Right.
The absolute value of Charlie Kirk is the same to them. Here's a moment of inflection that we can use to galvanize the will of the people that support our causes and to mute the will of the people who fight against it. And many people are bowing down.
Yes. But for me, until the day I die, I refuse to lose my fighting spirit on this, because I just can't. I have too many people to sacrifice too much for me to get to the point now for me to just lay my sword down and give up all my freedoms. I refuse.
Yeah, as people that give truthful opinions, I mean, that be honest with ourselves and our audience on here, it's a bit of a scary time. Because you're watching people that say innocuous things who are much more protected. Jimmy Kimmel's much more protected. He'll be fine.
Right.
He'll be fine ultimately wherever he lands. He's not entitled to an old nighttime talk TV show that loses a bunch of money. I get the symbolism of it, but no one's entitled to that. No one deserves that. But if they can get him, the point is they can get any of us.
Agreed.
And,
they wanted a martyr.
I'm not saying, so I'm going to say something. I'm not saying this to try to scare anybody or raise money or get you guys support. This is just facts. It's something I think about all the time. But in this current economy, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people don't have as much.
Right.
Every day I log on and I check our premium account people are, we have to look at the business side of this and the money. And I go on, PayPal or whatever, it tells you here's your trends for the last X amount of time. And like people are canceling because, people going through it, whether, it could be other things too. I'm sure people cancel all the time just off of like, I don't like what they said or it's boring. But people cancel all the time. People can't renew. People have to adjust their budgets and stuff. And of course, we're feeling the effects of that because we're people sponsored, right? This isn't brought to you by FanDuel or some shit. This is the people that we get a check from y'all at the end of every month. And that month is a different day for each of you, right? That ones that support in that way. We might get some clicks from ads, but the ad revenue is not huge. Like this is not a huge platform in that way. And there's things that we say on here because we're free people and we decide to live that way. Man, I don't know. I like tomorrow somebody could try to be fucking with us. I don't know. And even with those numbers dwindling down, even with the collective pain that we're all feeling economically right now, I never hesitate to come on here and at least be honest. And maybe that means, we be facing somebody trying to target us one day. But the truth of the matter is, I believe in y'all, the people listening to the sound of our voice, that much that it's a bet that I'm making. We could be wrong and we could turn out and be like, damn, guess they both work at Starbucks writing Charlie Kirk's name on cups now. But as of right now, I just truly believe our audience would have a reaction if we were targeted. Like if somebody came to fuck with us and they were like, Rod and Karen, they not on iHeart no more or something for some shit they said that it didn't seem that bad to me, but for some reason, I might be wrong, but I truly believe that if we would put out the bat signal like, hey man, we need y'all. Like we're down bad. We don't know what we're gonna do we might not have a show. Like I really do think people would step up to make sure we don't go away. Cause I think to some people, what we say still matters and that we exist in our autonomy. And that you're getting honesty and you're getting realness, so that even when you hear something on here you don't like, we're not faking it. It's not contrarian. We're not trying to like make a splash or go viral. The shit that we're saying, we're just saying because those are the people we are. Right. I truly do believe that's how we have to move. And I think I'm watching how many people can't move like that.
Yes, there's a lot of people that can't.
So when you see something like, man, they didn't even talk about this on The View. Because they can't move like that.
I get it. I understand. And
they can't. But I'm saying they probably don't want to move like that, but they also can't move like that on The View. They will not survive in the way that I feel like we've set up a free. So there's a freedom. Why this is why I always talk about. I don't look at other people's platforms and envy and shit because they didn't build their shit the way I would necessarily want my shit built. I want my ship built. I want my ship built in a way that it doesn't sink because one person didn't like it.
Right.
Even when one of y'all writes in that I ain't like this, I quit the show. We didn't make this a one person sinks the ship operation. And I truly do believe that if people ever did see the ship start sinking, they sail out and lift us up, I will hope. And I think a lot of people, you can tell, can't move like that. And they on these major platforms with huge checks. Shouldn't be worried about a check for the rest of their life. And they're out here capitulating already. Michael says, this was an amazing episode. Thank you both for 2.5 hours of greatness. Both of your reactions to that email from Stephanie that implied you might take time off because of Charlie Kirk had me crying. I needed that laugh today. Much love and gratitude to you both. Yeah, come on, man.
Thank you.
Come on, dog. Evie says, I like to clarify my statement about Southern grocery stores. I still think they're elite, but the more I think about it, there are good grocery stores up here as well. I'm surrounded by Wegmans, and ShopRite is pretty decent depending on the location. I just think grocery stores in general cater to the area they are located up here. They wouldn't have a peach heat chicken. I'm from the South, so I love Southern cuisine. I live in a pretty white neighborhood, so if I want to get the good seasoning and the cuts of meat I like, I have to drive to the city where more black people live. That's an underrated thing, but that's true. Because, like, you can go to a white restaurant, but if the people making it, is black, sometimes you be like, you know what? They did something to this macaroni and cheese that is not happening at the other Red Robin location.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I go to Red Robin and nobody's speaking English in the back, I was like, you know what? This is gonna be flames.
I know IHOP, man. We used to have the Mexican cooks back there, man. And
man,
they was different.
Yeah, I was like, whatever y'all cooking, I want. Like, yeah. I was like, I don't want our goddamn breakfast. Whatever y'all cooking, I want.
Yeah, they would just tell me to put in certain things for my breakfast, and they'd be like, I'll make something else. But yeah, just put in omelet, and then I'm gonna hook you up with some fucking huevos ranchero or some shit. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
please.
But like, this shit ain't even on the menu, and never will be.
I remember last year around Thanksgiving, I was looking for turkey necks to make dressing, but none of the stores in my area had it, so I had to drive to the city. I know they would have been in a Southern grocery store no matter what neighborhood. Plus, I miss boiled peanuts. I feel you. I'm not sad that Charlie Kirk died from keeping it 100. I don't think a lot of these people are publicly mourning him do either. Okay, we kind of on the same page. I'm finding a lot of this online carrying on performative, and Dump is definitely using him to keep us distracted from the Epstein files. Donald Trump didn't go to his memorial, and when asked about him, brought up they were like, how are you holding up in the wake of your friend dying? And he was like, did you see the extension on the White House we doing? I don't believe Donald Trump has empathy.
He doesn't.
You know, Donald Trump's another one of these people that I know he's a terrible person, because when you ask people to say something good about him, they normally say shit that is neutral, meaning like he's a father. You know what I mean? Like, what?
He's a husband.
That's not a, I'm sorry to tell you, that's not a value statement. That's a fact. That's like you say, hey man, what do you think
You're
about
not describing anything?
It's like, what do you think about Rod? He drives a Nissan.
You're right.
Well, yeah, he does drive a Nissan.
What do you think about Karen? She wears glasses.
Yeah, well shit, I guess we can't say nothing. Yeah, rest in peace. Come on, man. In a couple of weeks, his passing will be buried under another cycle of news, and in a few months, no one will hardly speak his name. I think that's another reason they're rushing to try to get as much as they can in this little bit of time before people wake up and go, what the fuck? What do y'all want us to... Wait, what are we remembering again? Remember Rush Limbaugh? He was once lionized conservative, and I brought him up to a friend to prove my point. She didn't even know he died. Yeah, he got that Medal of Freedom too before he died. Mm-hmm. Forgotten because he had absolutely nothing in society but hate, and the fact that no one who is supposedly mourning him can quote anything he said or state anything of work that he's done. He'll be forgotten too when the media and content creators can no longer get clicks or views from his name. It does say a lot that he didn't think, or he didn't think to do it, or the people that are memorializing him haven't brought it up. Did he not do any charity work at all?
I could see him.
It's kind of crazy if he didn't, right? Like, you just get a fake ass charity, throw a couple dollars in there, and then people can at least pretend like, well, he did have the, children of such and such.
I know he didn't, because if he did, they would have bought it up.
It's just interesting. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's just interesting because you can't even use that. All right, let's get to the YouTube comments. Let's see, we got 11 on here. I love y'all, both y'all killing it. Thank you for awesome feedback. Show y'all dope as fuck. I agree with everything y'all said about Charlie Kirk situation. Says provocative as fuck. Damien says, I would totally love if Gavin Newsom was culturally aware enough to know showing Charlie Kirk too much love makes you look like a soft white nationalist. I guess that's why they call it privilege, because I doubt Gavin even considered he might receive pushback for trying to be magnanimous. Yeah, and I mean, if he really just thought that was the right thing to do, then I'm okay with him thinking that was the right thing to do. I just think it's incongruent with the brand he's been trying to take on for the last month and a half. And you can't be mad at people for pointing it out.
Right.
You can't be mad at people. People aren't fucking stupid. They just watched you be on some like no fucks given. They go to low, I go to hell. And then something happened and you go, well, remember the time I had him on that white supremacist on my podcast? Yeah, that's different. He my boy, and we need to keep up his work. What can you say what his work is, Gavin?
Can you say what his work is?
And I guarantee you he'll reduce it to an absolute value. He had people talking. He was not scared of conversation.
He was a truth teller.
Right. Nah, I wouldn't even say truth teller. No, that's a value. I wouldn't even give him that. He gonna just he believed in freedom of speech. They gonna use one of them, yeah. They gonna use shit like that, and then when you go, okay, well, freedom of speech to say what, Gavin? And what does it mean when he had blacklists for people? What does that mean, dog? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Okay, continuing his work. Who and how would you continue his work?
Right.
When his wife says she's gonna continue his work, what do you think she means, Gavin? Right? Like, it's just interesting, man, because it's something's always going to happen, and you can't play that game for 4 years to be president. It's just not going to work. People are now going to use this moment whenever he goes, I'm running for office. Well, remember how he felt about Charlie Kirk? And this is like, oh God.
Right.
Dark Name says they tried to make everyone feel bad about the death by flying the U.S. and ROK flags at half staff over here in ROK. I don't know what ROK is. Damien says, why the F were they flying flags half staff for a guy who wasn't even a government official? Also, this was on 9/11. He wasn't important. So were they saying we deserve, the WS deserves reverence? Because most of us think not. And it almost makes you forget to not go in on the dead guy, especially when the person was such a dirtbag. The last government official to pass away and have flag lowered was Jimmy Carter, and Donald Trump was mad because it was during his inauguration, so he had them lifted. What the fuck? Yeah, well, they telling you what they believe. Jay Harris says maybe Karen had bird blindness too. Blue heron, pigeon, hummingbird, they all the same. Well, Karen doesn't watch Peacemaker, so she won't get your joke 100%, but I do. I appreciate it. JJ says, when I heard y'all read what Newsom said about Kirk, I was like, Gavin, no. I don't know why these politicians are so insistent on trying to pal around and comfort these evil ass people when they know the sentiment isn't shared. Right. These people hate a multicultural, progressive, vibrant society, and nothing you do is going to persuade them to change their minds. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I cannot honor these people who keep saying this man dedicated his life to good faith debate. He did not. Right. You can go look at the titles of his own videos. The caption is, he destroys this person. He, eviscerates this person. It's mocking the people he's having discussions with. He's using them as fodder. It's not, there was never a time where he was like, fuck, man, that's a good point. And I actually see how you can feel that way. And like, maybe my solution is different than yours, but I hear what you're saying. That's not what his job was. It's not what he made a living doing. You can never give them enough because there's always someone wanting to do more and go further than Newsom types, i.e. Trump. They need to put money and effort into their base and getting people out to vote. Kim Doc says, new diamonds and pearls, new hey girls is crazy. Wait till she hears today.
Right?
DMA22 says, there shall be no sugar in thine grit slander allowed. In the grit slander allowed, hashtag candy core 2, hashtag both are great. Listen, you're not gonna.
I was like, how did I slip in?
You're not gonna Charlie Kirk grits. You're not gonna just come out here and say lies, and then I'm supposed to be like, well, at least we both had good faith discussions. No, restaurants don't even have sugar grits on the menu. Shut the fuck up. Joseph says, I remember a lot of stuff too, and I've just accepted the fact that everybody has done some stuff that I don't like. Gladly, most of the stuff is not unforgivable, but it's very frustrating when it is unforgivable or there's a pattern, and I'm the only one who remembers. That's the hard part for me. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like we're talking about, did we forget, or that, that concept of the idea. But yeah, everybody's done some shit. I'm thankful for having a brain that can compartmentalize, because I know people swear they don't have those anymore, but I do. Mm-hmm. Like, I can absolutely be like, no, I like this movie. This person's probably a bad person.
Yes.
And not take it in and be like, and I'm supporting them be a bad person. I'm like, no. Kang was a great character. Jonathan Majors possibly being an abusive person is not the thing for that I can fix.
Right. And and I understand everybody is different, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not giving up everything, because there's a lot of ain't shit people out there. So I'm not going to be like, I guess I won't be going to the movies. I guess I won't be going out to eat. I guess I won't be. No, I can't do that. I live in a functioning society. There's going to be shit that I buy from racists, homophobic, and all these other people, like, because we live in a functioning society, and I know everybody's levels on these things are different, and everybody has their bars. And I understand people go, well, I'm not supporting this and supporting that. That's cool. But I personally realize that I function in a society and my money is going to go places that I don't want it to go. And I have to feel comfortable with that. Like, I just have to.
The poll was actually, you know what, for this one, yeah. Let's see. The poll was why am I drawing a blank on the fucking poll? Oh, there it is. Okay. Did Charlie Kirk's death make you sad? 97% of our audience says no, 3% says yes. And I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I honestly don't. I think it is sad. And I think also I know people are gonna go in on people like Jamie Lee Curtis for crying and all this type of shit. I truly, I think that's just us trying to be like conservatives.
Yes.
I think seeing someone get murdered, regardless of their beliefs, can make you feel sad. I don't necessarily think you need to perform for me. I don't need to always be on task. And also, my emotions aren't like slaves to my will all the time. Like,
right.
I can rationalize something, but when like someone tagged our Twitter account to that shooting, so I did not know or think I would see that video. I was just doing my job of like, let me peruse our mentions, and it was like something guessed the race, and I clicked on it, and it was Charlie Kirk. Literally within seconds, a bullet going. It took my brain a second to even understand what I just had witnessed, and I was like, "Fuck!" I think I just watched someone die.
Right, and that's not normal. We have normalized that shit. It's not normal to watch people die on video.
So I'm not here to judge I did feel a little bit sad, or it did make me cry, or a bit. Yeah, and whether you agree with them or not, this is definitely an inflection point, another in a long line of political violence. I think it's kind of sad because in that way, those people who said Obama had fake tears, they kind of won. In that way, they did win because they normalized all of us going, we feel nothing. I am numb. And I do feel numb a lot of the time. That was just one of the ones that when I went, oh. But in general, I'm so numb to violence at this point because we've been watching violence a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's January 6th. It's Josh Shapiro's house being put on fire. It's Nancy Pelosi's husband being beaten with a hammer. It's the politicians in Minnesota. It's Donald Trump being a attempted assassination on him. And now Charlie Kirk's the latest one. And we know there'll be more. All right. Time for another one of these breaks. We talked a very long time this episode, but we'll be back. So yeah, there we go. And like I said, not judging anybody's reaction. There's no right way to feel on some tragic shit or just some shit like that. It's so crazy where we're living. Whatever's helping you get to the next day. So what we got. The next episode is a Giving Heart project. We had Glenice and Kevin on, Karen's cousin, Glenice. Appia says, great to hear from people who care and actively help others. It's sad that Christians in America are often so unchristian. I used to be a Catholic. Now I don't follow an organized religion. I still think many of the Christian values are good, but people don't really follow them, even if they claim to not follow the religion. Otherwise, how could you support deportations and other similarly hateful stuff? Yeah, and it's like such a catch-22 being from the South, especially being a black person, because like there's a relationship with church that most white people will never understand for black Southerners. Because the church in its foundation was obviously this white man's religion that was handed to keep us docile and all this stuff, but it also was the one time of the week where they weren't watching black people. And so the church ended up becoming like not just a symbol but an actual tool of organization and resistance against slavery and oppression.
Right.
And so there's a radical part of the black church that does not exist in the white church, that people have to live those raps and those values, and they help people on the Underground Railroad, and they help organize things. Martin Luther King was a preacher. Jesse Jackson was a preacher. Al Sharpton was a preacher. Even to this day, that's still a legacy. Cornel West, Michael Eric Dyson, these are preachers. Like our religion not the same as their religion. And I'm not saying that on some like, because everything's so racist. I just think that's a factual thing. You just don't know the history of the churches. So all that to say, like, a black person being a church person to me is not always a red flag. Now, there are still conservative values and conservative leaning things that happen within black churches. That is problem. It's one of the reasons I don't go. But I've seen a lot of people that were progressive and helpful use the black church to organize or use the values that they learned from church to help people. And so it is this conflicting thing of like, while I think the en masse white Christian nationalism has really hurt America, I think Reverend William Barber is probably one of our foremost courageous, righteous, moral people that we have in existence in America.
He be out there in Raleigh in their asses.
So I don't know. Mm-hmm. Sean says Handles looks delicious. I mean, not as delicious as Olsen's in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, but next time I'm in Charlotte, I may try them out. Wait, no licorice? How can they not have licorice ice cream? I don't know. I've never had that. Can't speak to whether it's good or bad. Sean says, love the conversation. This episode had great pacing and flow, not to mention interesting guests. Keep up the superb work. EVE says, these guests sound like truly wonderful people. And this episode also highlighted what we already knew, that Karen is a wonderful person. I love how highly her cousin spoke of her. Karen, you inspired your cousin, and now she's helping so many people.
Oh.
And then on YouTube for this one, we got 11 comments. Okay. Let's see. Dark Namja, weak emojis. Rhea says, excellent show. I love that what the fam is doing to serve the community. I was not the least bit surprised hearing how Karen came alongside her cousin. This is another example of how something small has a big impact on someone's life. Thank you, Karen, for being everything that you are.
Oh, thank you.
CPJ Morgan says, it was such a pleasure to hear from your fam doing such amazing work for the community and sharing their stories. I work in healthcare, philanthropy, and it remains very white and conservative, especially the board. So I love seeing us helping us with integrity and true compassion. Just thank you. What I think is so interesting is that their charity is just about helping everybody.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's Charlotte and we already know the statistics and disproportionately affected community. So you end up helping us disproportionately because we're disproportionately into people that need help. But
helping us helps everybody.
It is so interesting how that is helped them to not explicitly be about that. Provocative AF says, sup Rod and Karen, this show tugged at my heartstrings. It was very enlightening, made me want to take my 501c to the next level. It's a family affair. Shouts to your folk, Karen. They're very empathetic and selfless. Breve says, really enjoyed the guests you had recently. Thank you. I know it's been a little more positive leaning with some of these guests we've had lately. It's not on purpose. It's not like mental health September.
Everything just feel like that, right?
Yeah. Ramsey PH Dunn says 5 stars for doing what you two do best, authentically. Thank you. E99 East 99th Street. Is this a Bone Thugs and Harmony reference? Man, I've been listening to y'all on Spotify for a few weeks. Then I heard Ryder Karen said something that prompted me to check the YouTube. And yes, I am here now, subscribed and ready to go. All right. Hit us with that hype button. Kim Doc says, so amazing to hear about the work they're doing and the passion behind it. It makes a world of difference, even when you feel like you're losing strength and hope is in the vision. You're so needed. I know in my work, all the worry goes out the window when we are teaching kids about STEM. All the planning and hours of preparation is worth the 1 hour of fun you bring to their lives. Blessing to y'all. Keep going. Yeah, and I love her Kim Doc's videos on social media where she posts her and the little kids learning science. It's always brings a smile.
Adorable.
Damien says, great guest, great show, guys. Thank you. TKJ1 says, thank you for another great show. I love the vibe between you and your guest. And lastly, Jason says, I won't when the episode first started, or I guess I don't know if it's when the episode first started. For a second, I thought y'all had hired some stand-ins for the show. Yeah, because I had to split the screen to show mostly them and us on the side because they were together. And it was the only way to get the camera to show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so in the thing, it didn't split us up. It just basically had us off on the other side when it rolled over or something.
Yeah, it kind of has to.
Okay.
It's the only way to get them both in frame.
Right, because they was on the main screen, and so you on YouTube, it just sounded like we were just talking, like off on the side somewhere.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Like, this is what it ended up looking like. Me and you to the left, and then them together on the right.
Okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you.
But so he's like, did y'all hire New Rod and Karen? That would be funny if like that's how y'all found out we got rich and quit the show. Like we hit the lottery and hired 2 actors to be us. It's like, y'all do
Here's the script.
Close enough. All right, so don't say nothing too glowing about Republicans. Try to keep it light on the Democrats, okay? Because the country is going to hell. And then throw in a little racism.
Here's the highlights.
But great show. It's amazing how at a time when it would be so much easier for people to go dolo, those 2 are out here trying to do for the community. Yeah, that gender wars was not much of a war. That woman had no ammo. The title alone was going to be an L for her. A single mother with bad kids was only once ever embraced by the public, and that was in the 90s classic Baby Kids. And I would even say they weren't really embraced by the public. That was us embracing Robin Harris having to deal with them badass kids. Let's see the poll. Have you given any money to a charitable org this year? Yes or no? 67% yes, me included. 33% no. Yeah. Well, also it's about that time, right? I feel like now is when we start going outside, and it's like what Girl Scout cookies or that.
Oh, it is
about
about
to
that
see
time.
that Salvation Army bell, and also I feel I wouldn't count it against you if you decided to count it, but also like I kind of don't count when they be like, would you like to round up for the kids? I'm like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, it's not. Y'all get it right off.
Y'all not getting that. Y'all not getting that same energy. All right. Because we didn't have any breaks before for an hour and some change. Here's another one of these breaks so we could put another ad in.
We was talking.
Yeah.
I turned around and there he was, looking good. You girl.
All right. Through the 3159 Driving Purdy, we had Dion from the Bad and Boozy podcast, and of course of the Marion House. We had 4 comments. Appia says, I am in the age where I could very well be premenopausal. In contrast to no one talking about it, I have a feeling that I'm faced with it everywhere. The ads I get want me to be in it, but I really don't feel no new symptoms yet. Mood swings, of course, only the ones I always had, and that you can blame on puberty. Being a woman in this world, periods, pregnancy, postpartum, the swings, and me are old friends. Otherwise, I haven't noticed anything yet, but when I look up what could be a sign, it's practically everything. Just existing and breathing, while being a woman after 40 is enough. Do you eat a lot? Menopause. Do you eat very little? Menopause, and so on. I asked my mother about menopause. She said she had about one half flash in her 50s, and then the period just stopped the end. So I hope for those genes. Yeah, I don't know what the rules are, and I do know in America we live in a medicine like a pharmaceutical economy, meaning that they sell us our medicine. There's commercials for our medicine. So yeah, I can imagine, I don't know what it's like in Germany, but I can imagine that the algorithms and the social medias and your phone and everything, they know you're of a certain age and they know you're a woman. And so you probably do get this. I mean, the same way that everything I log on to is like, you want to get your dick hard?
Yes.
It don't matter what it is. It don't matter what it is. Like, hey, erectile dysfunction. You want some dick hard? How your dick doing? You want some dick? You need your dick to get hard right now. I'm like, I'm just trying to shop for clothes. Well, I do want your dick hard in them clothes. You don't want them jeans just laying down flat. You want them jeans to stick up like a tent. Let people know what you're working with. I'm like, oh my God. Karen J says, I'm sad no one took the opportunity to call Casper Caucasian in this first guest race. Evie says, being premenopausal is no joke. I'm someone who is usually always cold, but these hot flashes make me want to take a cold shower. 1 minute I'm under a blanket, the next I'm pulling out my face fan. But On the upside, no period. So I guess a win is a win. Good for Queen Latifah speaking out on issues for us middle-aged ladies.
Yeah, and also the thing about premenopausal, because they don't really study it like they should, everybody is different. Literally everybody is different. Like they have signs and things like that. And I also think when it comes to this, it can last, particularly premenopausal, it can last up to 10 years and sometimes even longer than that. Depending on who you are and how your body adjusts to these changes. And also, this is just my personal opinion. For some people, they're actually going through premenopause, maybe and menopause, and some women are just in denial, or people that are going through this process are just in denial, because if you admit that you're having this, you also admit that you're aging, and we are anti-aging society. So if you admit, hey, there's something wrong, I'm losing hair and it's not alopecia, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, all of a sudden I put clothes on and my skin is itching and I don't know why. Like all of a sudden, these small things that we just think, quote unquote, goes on with aging. And because when they run all the tests, they're going to look at you and be like, you're fine. The test doesn't say nothing's wrong, but it does not mean that you're not going through the process.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to read a book, got to consult with your doctors, got to something. I don't know. Everything is so foreign to me because I'm a man of privilege, and it's not something that happens in my body that I don't feel comfortable giving any level of like, this is what is happening to people. I'm sure it's some people that's happening to. And I also don't know what you do if you truly are like, I'm not experiencing these things, and people are like, yes, you are. No, you just in denial. You going through it. I don't know. Everybody's body is different.
Agreed.
And, I wish everybody comfort. Let's see. EVE says another thing I think is worth mentioning is the forgetfulness. The other day I spent 5 minutes looking for my phone, only to realize I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone the whole time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Let's see. Comments on YouTube. Nasty Knack says this must be Lisa from Temecula from Saturday Night Live. Cook my meat. And it's at the 56-minute 33-second mark. I don't know what we was talking about at 56. It must have been a guest eraser. No, it couldn't have been guest erase. Oh, it was the lady with the gender war where she said she ate meat off the steak straight off the table. Raph says had to come to the tube so I could hype this video. Consider me a Blackout the Blackout Tips Nation hype G now. Great show as always. Thank you for the hype.
Thank you. Now since I know what a hype is.
Ramsey says, this brings me joy. Love y'all. Thank you. Miss Rose says, this gender wars lady and Quan Mills, author of the Ho Got Roaches and Pastors Eat Pussy too, would have a time. She's out here. Damien says another great show and another great guest. And Jason says, great show, y'all. D is a boss. CFO always seems like the hardest out of all the C-suite jobs. Numbers make your boy nervous. To be a CEO, all you need is a suit. The guest erase, you don't even need a suit now. The guest erase about the dude who killed his roommate over the remote was wild. But I guess like the remote is one of those more likely household appliances that could lead to homicide. It's right up there with a thermostat and the PlayStation. Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely up there.
This top 5 and it ain't number 5.
Yeah, because the remote will make you want to kill somebody when it's nobody's fault but yours.
Right, because you're like, the fuck is this goddamn remote?
Like when you lose the remote, man. I remember one time I lost the remote for like 5 minutes in my house, and I was already on Amazon looking up remote replacements. Because I was like, I don't know where the fuck is that. Fuck it. Right. I'll find it one day. And
when I don't need it.
You know what'll make it pop up? When the new remote get here, yes! It's going to fall out of the ceiling onto my face and be like, why did it get up there? The only people who got sprayed with the bug spray probably got off light. I know whenever I grab the bug spray, I'm emptying the clip. We didn't see exactly how much he gave him, but I imagine any amount of bug spray sucks.
Right.
That's a petty, thoughtful crime.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might keep some bug spray in my car now, just in case niggas want to act up.
It wasn't mace. No, I didn't mace them.
People gonna accuse me of being colorist. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it because they brown skin. I'm calling them roaches because I'm using bug spray. Stop trying to make everything Twitter. The poll, right? Do you like your steak well done?
No, chewing rubber.
Yes, no, or I don't eat steak. 17% of y'all do not eat steak. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to y'all.
I definitely wanted to make that part of the category because much like people that don't eat pork, you love to tell us. You love it. You love to eat. You love to tell us you don't eat pork more than you love pork. That's what I think. But yeah, no, 78% do not like their steak well done, and 6% do like their steak well done.
How about you gotta smother it in sauce?
I just like that y'all weren't ashamed to tell us that, because I think there's a little bit of shame attached to well done steak now, because I feel like social media has judged folks who like the well done steak pretty fucking harshly. So it's brave of you to now tell me you like your steak well done, because I'm like, ooh, everyone knows that's the wrong answer.
Yeah, enjoy it. I ain't got to eat it, but child, I'm not knowing 2 minutes a bite.
All right, let's get into the last thing, because we have no emails. We got 2 voicemails, so let's do voicemails after this break.
Okay.
Psycho
Music.
That was called Deep in the Funk. I like that one. I don't know if I played it before. All right, we got 2 voicemails. The first one's from Dre. Oh, son of a bitch. I do this every week. Guys, this is part of it now. I like to play for only the people that can hear in this studio. I like to play the voicemails just for me and Karen to test them first. Then after that, I play it for y'all. So let's act like that's on purpose.
Great. I'm listening to the feedback episode, and Karen, you was talking about how like you don't need a perfect candidate, and I feel that so much. I think even beyond not needing a perfect candidate, I think as far as for Black people who are politically active for real, I don't even think it's that we don't need a perfect candidate. It's that we know that that's not how politics works, in the sense that we're never going to get what's our idea of a perfect candidate.
Right.
It's not that Joe Biden was my perfect idea of a candidate. It's not necessarily like Kamala was my perfect idea of a candidate, though I thought she was a great candidate.
Agreed.
Ahead of time, I'm saying I didn't have the vision. I didn't see it ahead of time. In practice, I was actually highly impressed anyway.
Agreed.
The point is, I'm going to take whatever the fuck the Democrats put up, because it's gotten so bad that that's really the only option right now. And I think that's what causes such a strong divide, especially when it comes to Black people, between voters and non-voters, where it's almost like as politically active Black people, we have it's not, disdain is not the word. It's not but it's it's an utter frustration, because you are actually working in opposition to both your and my success right now, because you bought the bill of goods that it's all really the same and it doesn't really matter, because there's a group of people telling you it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter that much to them. But to us, it matters a lot. And the more marginalized your community is, it's the more the margins hurt you. I don't think people don't realize it is the margins. Mm-hmm. And maybe they are worlds apart, but maybe in what they're able to get accomplished, it's not worlds apart, even though it is. But for the argument, we'll say it's not. We're all so far at the margins that even changing things a little bit hurts us so much.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's all. Love you guys.
You too, buddy. Thank you. The one thing I would even add to that is, because I absolutely agree. I I had a thing that happened on Twitter this week, and where I was like, there's something terrible that Trump did or something, and I was like, man, we really got to get to a point where the first reflex to a Republican with a Republican controlled Congress and Senate doing something horrible isn't something Democrats.
That gets on my nerves.
I think it was a pretty simple statement. I don't think what I said was controversial or very inflammatory, but I was like, we have to get to a point where the reflex isn't somehow this is the Democrats' fault, and it's, well, what are we gonna do to solve it? Me and you. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, what's the solution gonna be? Because being able to blame somebody, it's for those of us that play organized sports, and mine is basketball. The worst, you know what the worst teammate is? The worst teammate is not the guy who misses the last shot. It's not the guy that makes the turnover pass, and you lose the game, or misses his defensive assignment, or whatever. We all do that. Everybody who's played basketball knows it's impossible to play perfect all the time, and occasionally you miss the shot. You fuck up the pass, right? Now, the worst guy to me is the guy that just doesn't take any fucking responsibility. Does not believe in the concept of we're all in here for ourselves and we're all playing for each other. That's the guy. That's the worst teammate. He's the guy on the sideline that after you lose, he's just bitching and complaining about everything everyone else did wrong. Right? He's the guy that when you even sign up together, he's already acting like we're all going to lose. And that is that's a portion of our teammates online when it comes to this stuff. But what happened to me was when I tweeted that, some black avatar guy, I don't know if he was black for real, I don't know if he's a bot, I don't know if these people are real. It's social media. I typically don't even really go back and forth with people because I don't even know if you're a person. And so I did not go back and forth with this person. I think it's important to say here because I want people to understand I'm trying to be consistent about that. This was not a exchange of ideas that we had. I truly just saw what they said to me and blocked them and moved on with my life. But it was some guy who goes, I'm from Britain and I followed you for years. When are you going to wake up and stop going easy on these or stop defending these Democrats? They didn't do enough for Gaza and this is their fault and da-da-da-da. And I just blocked them because in addition to you not living here,
right?
If you're a person,
if you're real,
in addition to your black ass not being from here, meaning this is all theory for you,
right?
You don't have to live with the realities of what a Democrat loss means to me and my peoples and the world. You just living in a theory of like that'll show them. But I also know that these folks that would live under a Trump regime are not brave people.
No, they're not.
They're not going to fight back. The thing that you said was going to happen, the Democrats will learn a lesson and we're going to end up with some super progressive bounce back. Wouldn't that have happened the first time Trump was elected? Why would it take 2 Trump elections? If they were built like that, we would have been built like that. Joe Biden wouldn't have been the president after Trump if we were built for we need a radical change. That is not this country. There's nothing in the history of this country that shows that we are that type of country. But mostly I'm not just going back and forth with you in theory about the worth of my life and all the people that I care about in this country. Because you just want to get some political points off and say you went back and forth on Twitter with some guy that you've been following for years that don't follow you back because they don't know who you are and don't really necessarily have to have much stake or value in what you think about them. So anyway, it as you said, it's frustrating because they're not to be swayed. I don't go back and forth for people even when they are real people a lot of times because they have access to all the information I have access to.
Yes, they do.
So I don't believe that they are mistaken. And that's the hard part right now is to walk with that knowledge and not have contempt for people, even people that are just 1 degree away from me. So I don't like talking about it because I'm too angry and I'm too rigid. My job is not to bridge the divide. My job is not to make us compromise and bring everyone back to the table. There's leaders who do that,
Let them do their job.
But it could be Gavin Newsom. It could be Kamala Harris. It could be someone whose name I don't even know yet that's going to try to attempt to bring us all back to the table and get us to work together. But that is not my job or my role. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. And I'm feeling so rigid right now that there's an anger towards people who are just 1 degree off of me. That's not good. I should be a little more something. I recognize that, but I can't be. I literally can't be. People be saying shit that's like 1 sentence. They can say 99 sentences I agree with. They say 1 sentence. I'm like, where the fuck they make you at? That's that's not rational or reasonable for me. So yeah, in this, with this case where you're like, man, black people kind of understand and accept this. Some of us do, but even when it's another black person and they say something that I find to be just like, what fucking country you think we live in? I have to turn it off. I don't even really talk to my friends about politics sometimes because I'm just like there's certain things people say and their givens and their platitudes and their standards that people believe, and I just don't believe them anymore.
Yeah, and also I think that same as you, we said this before, I'm very mad, I'm very angry, I'm very upset, I'm very hurt, I'm very sad, mad, depressed, all balled up in one. And so a lot of times when we talk about these things, I'm a person and I'm very sensitive, and so when you start tapping at those things, you're gonna make me spew these things that I'm feeling, because everybody is under the illusion that they are the only person mad, and you're not. There are other people that are mad, and guess what? They are madder than you. And I happen to be one of those people. And so for me, no, I don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to hear the both sides. No, I don't want to hear no, because you're going through the process that I've already gone through, and I've lost my trust and my faith in a lot of the systems and all that stuff. So for me, I don't have this conflicting thing. I don't have this back and forth. Like for me, I've nipped that in the bud and cut that off and said it is what it is, and I'm not going to lie to myself, and I'm not going to deny myself the reality that I see. Right. And so for me, I'm like, there's no talking down, there's no compromising, there's no backing up. I'm not giving you a goddamn inch, because you have showed me if I give you an inch, you take a mile. And the thing is, I don't know all of history, but I know enough history, and I've seen the tactics before. There are books out there that tells you strategically what they're doing. And if you are aware and alert, you will go, ain't no motherfucking way, not on my watch. You would not be hemming, you would not be hawing, you would not be going back and forth. You will be absolute and resolute in how you felt. And I'm to that point right now. And when you feel like that, you not trying funny, you don't want to hear other people's opinion.
And then there's a couple more things too. Like, I recognize I'm not the problem.
Right.
You just want to argue with me because it's something to distract you. I'm not real to you. You're not recognizing my realness, meaning I can't do but so much. My Twitter account, my podcast, if it was as effective as you deem it to be, then the world would have listened to us, and Kamala Harris be president, and we'd be arguing about whether or not she's good enough on Gaza, and whether she's good enough on poverty, and whether she's good enough on the economy. We wouldn't be arguing what we're arguing now. And so I'm not in it for the argument. I'm not in it for the content of it. I'm a person. I'm just giving my opinion, but we're not equals. We're not going back and forth. It's not a game to me. And for many of these folks, it is a game, because you think that this is like arguing, is Michael Jordan better than LeBron with some American? And to me, it's much more serious than that. And nothing you can bring up as these rhetorical points is going to sway me, mostly because everything that you're saying is something that I was on the side of. Meaning, if you're going, well, I wanted the best for Gaza. No, I think I wanted the best. I think I wanted more than you did, Because what you're doing right now, where we're all sitting here watching these people be eradicated, and there's literally they're still running up on Democratic people that don't even have the fuck because they're afraid of the Republicans who have the power. Right. This is what I thought would come to pass. It's what is coming to pass, and I don't see anyone going back and going, shit, I should have listened. You guys are right. They're sending Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio over there to oversee the genocide. That is much worse. No one wants to admit this is worse, so therefore we can't even have a discussion about what would be better as a solution. And then that's one example. I could go through every example. So whatever you want to talk about, poverty, immigration, I can always point to what I wanted was better than what the result that we got. And I don't think politicians learn the way that you think they learn, where they go, we lost, let's double down on radicalism. I think they go, we lost, well, what did the people who beat us do? Oh, they were way more conservative. I guess we should be more conservative. That's what they learn typically. So yeah, at any rate, I'm not gonna go back and forth with people like that because like you listen to me, I don't listen to you. Like that's just the rules. It's not trying to be like a dick about it, but like this is not an exchange of ideas. And more than likely they don't even listen to our podcast. This is just a guy who reads my tweets and I guess doesn't like them. And I alleviate you of not liking those tweets. You are now free to go be in someone else's mention, arguing about a country you don't live in and what this black person who does live here and has had to like deal with these folks who are in charge on a daily basis and the information that comes, it's like what I told Apia when she was, talking about stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but in Germany, I don't know.
Right.
And it's just difficult for people to accept, but I know my experiences, but I don't know that they apply to your experiences. I don't know what it's like being a woman. I can have empathy. I can have theories, but I don't want to insult you with my theories because you probably thought of every fucking possible thing I could think of. You know what I mean? Like you live this. So if I